ThatGreatBusinessShow.com is brought to you by De Facto Shaving Oil, the best anyone can get. Made in Ireland, sold worldwide.
Welcome to That Great Business Show, episode 29, hosting on the 9th of April 2021. I'm Conall O Móráin. Oh, you did love Dr. John Teeling's story on episode 28. Just check out our LinkedIn pages where so many of you said you found the veteran businessman's energy and insights so inspiring. And if you missed it, listen back to a dozen great business ideas that Dr. John offered our listeners for free and for nothing. All of those ideas waiting for you now on Spotify, iTunes, etc. And Dave Kerr, the crazy underwater rock runner, or rocker, as he is now known in his native Greystones, the man we featured on episode 26, is still attracting attention with 6,800 views of his video on his LinkedIn pages alone, and we've had 1,000 more views on our own social media. Check it out. It still makes no sense. Now, on episode 29 of the world's most positive business show, we have an egghead, a happy head, and the co-head of an early-stage drinks company. One woman will explain what happens when supply exceeds demand, particularly when your hens are producing non-stop 3,500 organic eggs a day, every day. We have the return of a Team GBS member, a woman who has just sold her baby, or a recruitment company as she prefers to call it. She tells us that it's like what it's like to sell the love of your life. And we're in West Galway to hear from an early stage drinks company with world ambitions based in one of the world's most beautiful locations. All of this on Ireland's best business podcast, brought to you thanks to Ireland's best all-natural shaving oil, made in Mayo for men and women. It's the best anyone can get, sold online to the world. Buy it now, defactoshave.com, for your nearest and shavest. See what I did there?
Conobio, at That Great Business Show.
As always, we're on the lookout for great businesses to feature on That Great Business Show, particularly women-led enterprises. If you are one or know one, get on to our website, thatgreatbusinessshow.com, and tell us more. To sell or not to sell, that is the question. How many of you dream of selling your business for millions? If only. But then again, so many of you say you would never, ever sell because you want to see what's around the next corner. Way back in last November, on episode 8 of That Great Business Show, we had Hannah Wrixon, founder of the fabulously named recruitment company Get the Shifts, join us to tell us about her COVID challenges and her business pivots. Then, last week, I picked up my Irish Times and read that she's done the unthinkable. She's sold out to one of Ireland's largest recruitment companies, FRS. So, I get straight onto the phone to Clare-based Hannah and asked her, what has she done? How could she sell her baby? What was it like? What? And to answer all of those questions, she's back. Hannah Wrixon is here to tell all in her own candid fashion. First time I've said it, Hannah, but welcome back to That Great Business Show.
Oh my God, I'm a pioneer. It's fantastic. Thank you for that amazing introduction.
You've sold your baby.
I've sold my baby, yeah. And delighted to have sold my baby, let me tell you.
Come on now. The last time, and it's only last November, when you were here, you said you had plans for this, plans for that, and you have shown over the years that you keep, taking pivots and trying to get over hurdles and.
Yeah, I think resilient would be a word that would probably sit quite well in my toolkit. Yes, I was and still have all of those plans, and thankfully, having joined forces with a company like FRS, I get the freedom to do all that, but with the support of a large, innovative and exciting company. So it's the best of both worlds. And
you have just told me, because I didn't know this, that FRS is or was the old Farm Relief Services. I never knew that.
Yeah, so it's amazing for a company that's 40 years old. They celebrated their 40-year anniversary last year. That they're so innovative, they're so dedicated and enthused about tech, about where we can go, about what we can do, technical roadmaps, and it's really, really exciting stuff.
What made you sell? Hang on a second, there's a whole heap of questions here. Were you beaten into it? Did COVID do it to you? Did you say, oh God, not another challenge? Because it is tough out there, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I think that it was in the back of my head that at some point I would sell it. I'm not precious about the company. It's more about the journey for me. And when Colin Donnery approached me back in November 2019, and we had started conversations then, and we'd kind of parted ways amicably and said, look, not at the moment, not for me. And then COVID happened, everything happened. And what that actually did for me was it focused me more than I've ever been focused in anything. And we get the head down, we got the plans done, as I was telling you in November, and those plans were there. And then FRS actually approached us again, and I think it was a collaboration. I don't know whether I reached out or they approached, but we started chatting again. And
so now you don't skip over it, because people will be interested in how all of this works. There are 250,000, we know, SMEs out there. Take a number, say 10% of them probably are actively thinking of selling at the moment, but they want to know, how do you dip the toes into that water? Yeah,
so I suppose I don't really have that answer, because I was approached, which is a lovely and a great position to be in. What I would say, and this has been my big learning out of it, is to make sure that you are aligned in your cultures, because you have to be happy to go into a company. I have to work with FRS for the next 3 years, and I have no fear about it.
You just said have to or want to?
For me, I had to. I wasn't going to accept anything if I wasn't going to be happy in the culture. I had to have the space and the autonomy to do what I needed to do. I still see myself as an entrepreneur and as a person who's going to break barriers and to make changes and disrupt. And that was huge for me to have the permission to do that within the structure.
Now, those of the listeners who have not gone back to listen to episode 8, they should, of course.
Immediately.
You better start explaining to them what Get the Shift was about, is about, and probably, very interestingly, will be about.
So, Get the Shifts is, and was, and will be, and is currently a tech platform to provide temporary, flexible work to people who are interested in working around their lives, their college, their other work. And a platform that allows our clients to book and pay for staff from their own phone at midnight if they want to work like that.
And frequently, or typically, a lot of it was hospitality?
It was. So when COVID came knocking, obviously our business just went kaboom in the bad way. Yeah.
Oh, there are others whose kaboom have been in a good way. Yeah.
Sorry, kaboom was it went doom. And I suppose I had a choice to make there, and ever the risk taker, I kind of contacted my Leo. As always, they were amazingly supportive.
Leo Clare,
local enterprise office.
You better give a shout out to whoever your contact is there.
Porg, Finbar, Linda, Tig, the whole lot of them. Amazing group of people, and give a shout out to them and said, look, this is where I am. And they said, we'll back you. Whatever you decide, we'll back you. So
that is tremendous.
It's tremendous. And to have that kind of, support at that point where I was kind of looking into the abyss. So with their backing, with microfinance, I just put the head down and developed like crazy. So
when you say microfinance, did you go to Microfinance Ireland?
Microfinance Ireland.
Who we've also had on that great business show. Yeah,
so we had a loan, thankfully. A loan was granted to us in February. Thank God.
They're still giving out money.
They are still giving out money. I don't know if they'd have given it to me a couple of weeks later, but they are still giving out money. And I believe they've increased the limit to 50,000 now, which is very good. But with the support of those two agencies, I just developed like crazy. So when FRS and I did talk again, I had a great product to give them. So, like anyone will know with development, it's a journey, and we have a great product at the moment. It's going to get better and better. And now we have a tech budget. I've never had one of those before.
Because you better tell people how big FRS is. Again, this came as a surprise to me, how big they are. They are the largest recruitment company, are they?
Well, definitely up there. They employ over 2,000 people in Ireland.
Which is huge.
It's huge. It's huge. And they have a number of companies under their umbrella. They have Herdwatch, which is an amazing tech company. They have FRS Fencing. They have FRS Recruitment. So it's a huge business.
I put a smile on my face when you said Herdwatch. I was just beginning to, Jesus, is she going to start doing some recruitment of herds or cattle or something like that?
That's not my baby. That's not my baby.
And what can you hope to do in the future? Because I think you also, we discussed this. You had world ambitions. Is FRS going to bring this to the world?
Yeah, I think so. So we have.
You think so, or you know so?
Well, I'm always one to hedge my bets. So, I believe so. I'm very confident that between us we will see this grow. And we have plans to bring it outside Ireland pretty much straight away. And as I said, with the support of a large company like FRS, and I suppose their ideology and their excitement around this project, that's going to happen.
You sold your baby. So you had to sit down, have chats with the Leos, I know, with family, with backers, the husband. For episode 8, you have to check it. The husband has become a bit of an item on this. Is he with you from Clare today?
He's very handsome. No, he's not. He's at home minding the chisels.
I won't go down that rabbit hole because... So, what were the chats like? Were they, sad or reflective or, God, we have to do this or can't?
They were really tough. And you'd think it would be easy because... as a company, we were pretty much on our knees. But I had and have huge ambition, and I wasn't letting a small thing like coronavirus get in my way. We were going to achieve what we set out to achieve. Okay, there might be a 1.5 year gap there somewhere, but we were going to achieve what we would achieve. So the conversations were tough. The toughest was, not telling my full team. So that was really, really tough. And to know that I was actually securing their futures, but I couldn't tell anyone about it, just in case it didn't happen. And that was the big thing, just in case it doesn't happen. I don't want to get anyone excited, but they're so fully on board. We have 7 working with us, and they are excited about the career opportunities, career progression opportunities, just the learnings that will come, and of course the job security. So it was, but the conversations at home were the ones. They're
the ones I want to hear about. I want to kind of bend your ear and just hear what they were like.
So my husband was he was not into it. He was saying, do 5 more years, 3 more years, even head down. Let's get it done.
As they famously say, you get less from manslaughter, but there you go.
Exactly. But he has come around, and he does believe that they got a great deal. I believe we got a great deal, and I think that it has to. That's the essence of a great deal, isn't it?
Did you toss a coin, or did you write it all down? Say, here's the pluses and here are the minuses, or all of the above? Yeah,
there was pros and cons lists, for sure. But at the end of the day, you're referring to the business as my baby, but I have 3 other babies at home that actually require college, food, things like that. So it was. I had to consider the big picture. It wasn't a solo mission.
Sad?
No, excited. And I believe, I think in my own worth, and I believe that I will always have new ideas. And
now that's very interesting, because that is what, we know what you're saying. There's something else brewing, is there?
There's always ideas brewing in my head. And my 13-year-old actually wants to start his own company. So at the moment, that's what I've been helping him with. And I would really like to get into that kind of supporting startup space and doing that kind of thing either through mentorship or consultancy or something. But I definitely don't see myself leaving this ecosystem. There's definitely a space for me here.
But you are staying with FRS for 3 years.
3 years.
And is the name going to remain the same?
We haven't quite decided yet.
What's the thinking there? I love the name.
Yeah, I love the name. I love the name too. And it works really well for hospitality. It would work really well for retail. Not sure about banking services or financial services,
Well, I don't like saying it, but they're going to have their issues sooner rather than later. So there may not be anybody behind the counter eventually. So.
I know, it's quite sad. But yeah, look, I don't know. And again, that will be a conversation, but we're only so new.
We had Dr. John Teeling on last week on the podcast, and he gave us 10 or 12 at least brilliant business ideas. I'm not going to ask you for specific business ideas, but what area would you look at? Are you looking at software? Are you looking at human resources? Are you looking at...
I think software is key. I think that, you know, like I've done the existing businesses at the Shifts is software and service. And I have to say, when you look at the software aspect of it, like, why would anyone do service? It's so hard. So to develop a really good software solution, that they're no-brainers.
But the problem with that, and I have direct experience of this, is there's a lot of other people out there. Funding is an almighty curse.
It's huge. But I think with software, as opposed to services, you're opening yourself up to the likes of CSF. Because we couldn't apply for CSF because we were already way over
competitive startup fund. For
exactly.
Those who don't know
in
the old days, I would have charged you €20 for the.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I just suppose I've been living and breathing it for so long. But probably regretting it because we were over the threshold pretty much straight away because we were a service company. Our income levels were over the threshold. I think it's 63,000 in your first year. But like if it was tech only, all of those doors are open to you. Enterprise Ireland are so good at supporting, and you know that was my other option if this deal with FRS hadn't gone through, to go down the EEI Enterprise Ireland. Sorry, was there a fine?
Oh, we're like to call them EEI. Question is the your ambition for Get the Shifts was to go international. Mm-hmm. And you just said there that FRS are looking at going international as well, or FRS. I keep thinking of it. Is it FSR or FRS? They're going international. But your challenge is trying to break into those markets. Did you do the Connecticut call with me?
Yes, I did.
The Ireland Connecticut call. That's, as I keep telling people who listen to the podcast, is wide open to them. Ireland, Connecticut. People in Connecticut want people from Ireland to base their businesses over there.
Yeah.
It's not easy because there are so many other businesses out there.
There are so many, but I think that my plan would remain as it always was with Get the Shifts, is to secure the big bridge clients here and then support them in the UK or wherever else. And that
is that what they're called, bridge clients? So
they are in our vernacular. They are.
So therefore, if you got taken the name a Hilton Hotel, and Hilton then brings you worldwide with it.
Exactly. That would be how I would see it working for this particular model, or the Compass, or the Aramarks, or the Sodexos of the world. So
they're the names you want. I hear what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
How are you going to spend your millions?
Oh, look at
you told me
I've already gold-plated everything.
And there are 3 hungry mouths at home as well.
Exactly. I think we're going to build a house. That's what I think we're going to do.
I think that's a very nice thing to do.
Yeah.
In gorgeous Clare. And you'll remain based down there, yeah?
Yeah, and I think that
Hollywood, no.
Look, not just yet. I don't know. The true life story will come at some point, I have no doubt. But for now, we'll stick to the Clare Champion. And of course, the Great Business Show. But I think that would be a great project for us. I think that as I love a project, as you know, and I think a full-time job mightn't keep me busy enough. So let's throw on a house build.
Really?
Oh, for sure. I think when you're self-employed, though, you're used to working
that's true.
Like crazy hours. So you're checking your emails 11 o'clock at night, you're checking them at 6 o'clock in the morning.
And I know what you're checking it for. It's that odd thing. You're expecting some good news. It's always bad news, but it's always good news. I don't know why, but Joe Brown of Joe Brown Skincare has stuck in my mind so much. A 3-person outfit in Hacketstown, County Carlow, and her drive and ambition is just knows no end. And I think she works about 25 hours a day. Yeah. I love that story.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I'm looking for the client who has reached out, the good news story, the great feedback, the next development. That's what I'm looking for every time. So, yeah, I don't want the bad news story. I do have to deal with the bad news story, but it's a good news story always.
And this is the second time I will be asking you this, so you have to give me a new one.
Okay.
You're higher in a heartbeat.
I think I said my mother the last time, actually. And I suppose my higher in a heartbeat would be Michelle Obama. Is that a bit twee?
She's a very, very successful author now. So she probably has a few extra squid.
She might have been, she might have gotten better offers.
And why Ms. Obama?
I just love what she does for women. I think that she is a champion of women. I think she's resilient. I think she's bold. I think she's brave. I think that she's focused. And I know that this is so silly, but watching the Obamas' marriage, I just think they're a great partnership.
I also think she's smarter than the husband.
She's so intelligent.
I think you can see it in the eyes.
Yeah, she's so intelligent.
The brains of the operation.
Yeah, so if I could get an Irish Michelle Obama, Micheline Obama or whatever.
And I forgot to ask you this. When do you officially go under the FRS
We're
banner?
there.
Are you?
We're there, 26th of March.
Sealed, delivered.
Signed, sealed, delivered. My youngest turned 11 on the same day, so it was celebrations all around.
And you better beforehand give a shout out to the advisors that you had, if they were good to you.
Yeah, they were so good to me. So Holmes O'Malley Sexton in Limerick, and Neil O'Gorman in there, and Shane Costello, they were amazing. And my accountants were going straight to heaven. John Harrigan.
Not too soon.
John Harrigan, Ashton Sheedy, the whole team in Harrigan Rosum in Limerick, they were amazing.
Good. That was Hannah Wrixon of Get the Shifts. It's now Hannah Wrixon of FRS, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us on That Great Business Show.
Thank you so much.
That Great Business Show. Looking for the best work-life balance? Why not start your new business life in one of Ireland's beautiful Gaeltacht locations? Údarás na Gaeltachta has created Ireland's biggest digital hub, G-Tech. High-speed broadband just for you. Hossail Noaf Nachtlat. Your new work-life awaits. Find out more at údarás.ie. Backing great women-led businesses on every show. That Great Business Show.
Is Hacketstown, County Carlow, population just over 1,000, Ireland's most entrepreneurial small town? Well, so far they have sent That Great Business Show great guests like Jo Brown of Jo Brown Skincare, shipping her skincare range worldwide, and Katrina Cullen of Cullen's Nurseries, keeping our native hedgerows alive and selling during lockdown. Today, it's the turn of another Hacketstown resident and entrepreneur, Paula Butler, joint boss of Butler's Organic Eggs, or mother hen to 4,050 organic hens that, come rain or shine, lay around 3,500 eggs a day, every day of the year. I was having a great phone chat with Paula about her business when she mentioned that just in the last few weeks, she and her co-founder husband, David, had noticed a downturn in organic egg consumption, which prompted me to ask, what do you do when the eggs keep coming but the consumers don't? You can't ask the hens to stop laying, or can you? And that's why I had to have Paula here on That Great Business Show to tell us about her cracking no more silly egg jokes. All right, I won't do any more of those. Paula, welcome to That Great Business Show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us. We're delighted to be here. It was great to get the day out.
Well, listen, let's start with my first question there. Did you notice, have you noticed, because you told me you did, a downturn in the consumption just recently in organic eggs?
We're in business since 2006, and what I've always said, we've grown organically and very slowly, and there's always been a sale for eggs. So always we'd say, we can expand slowly and we'll have sales for the eggs. So it took nearly 2 years to expand, say, from 2 sheds to 3 sheds, and we had these extra eggs. And as soon as we got the extra eggs, it was like Murphy's Law, sales started to drop in the last number of weeks. So say rather than David coming home on a Thursday after deliveries going, we're sold out, we're completely sold out. For the first time ever, he mentioned, one shop that could take 50 dozen religiously, another shop take 30. One shop may have 20 dozen left and the other shop would be sold out. So it's the first time ever it was inconsistent pattern of buying from consumers. So we weren't really sure if this was down to the lockdown and people not baking anymore or kids gone back to school. But we were a little bit nervous of all of a sudden we finally have these extra eggs that everybody was looking for, and sales had dropped. Not a lot, but they dropped slightly. There wasn't as big a demand.
And?
It's picked back up in the last week or two. So
because
we
to
think
answer the question about the eggs keep coming.
Yeah, you panic.
Do you?
I don't. I panic. David doesn't. David's
Back in
fine.
the day, you probably were way too young to remember, but you could preserve eggs. Do you remember? Did you ever hear of that?
No.
I hate admitting this, but when I was a kid, we used to preserve eggs during winter because, as you know, when hens are hens properly, they don't lay in the winter, do they?
They will if the conditions are right. So if there's any kind of disruption to the hen, so for example, a lack of feed or waters, there's not enough water, or they get any kind of a fright, or there's any form of noise. We did again learn this over the years, because initially when we had the 250 birds, I'd bring my kids' friends down and they were like legging it all around the birds and shouting and roaring, woo, look at the hens. And we wouldn't even manage, at the time we wouldn't have been, counting how many eggs there was, and we wouldn't have known about production. Like, it really did start from scratch. So it wasn't long after that David discovered, with the noise and disruption, that the lay went down. So we discovered quite quickly and early on that...
and the reason that all of this was a learning curve for both of you is your background was working with the VECs, and David, the hubby's job was in...
cable. He worked for the ESB and he was installing cable and work like that.
So nothing to do with hens?
No.
Why
no.
hens?
Why hens? David is originally from Bray in County Wicklow, and his dad...
Which is not a farming area.
No, it's not. His dad was originally from Hacketstown in County Carlow, where I'm from, and the farm was always rented as such, but David always had a keen interest. He was coming down on his holidays, chatting up the girls in Hacketstown, and...
You being one of them, was it?
Well, not for a while, with his dad on the farm. And he always had an interest. So after school, when all of his friends were heading off to college, he went to agricultural college, which was quite unusual, say, for somebody from Bray.
Was that Gertine? Tipperary?
Wasn't Gertine.
Okay, we'll pass on that one. We'll just...
Multifarnham.
Oh yeah, okay.
Multifarnham.
Yep.
So he always had an interest. So he moved down to Hacketstown. When I moved up to Dublin, we'd start going out, and he moved down, I moved up. And he did start off with... he got some lambs. He was going into sheep and he had lambs, and that was short-lived. The mink killed all the lambs. So he went down after, work and an investor, whatever. He went down one day and the lambs were all dead and two little holes in the side, and the mink had killed them. So then he moved up to Dublin. I won't say after me, he wouldn't be happy to hear that. And, he worked...
This is a live podcast.
Yeah, well, he worked in the cable industry, and he's very handy, and he was able to, get jobs easily, but he always wanted to work for himself. So after a number of years, he decided, I'm going to do something on the farm. So his dad had passed away and left him the farm, and he wanted to come up with something that he could do himself, that he wouldn't have to work for anybody else. So he did a bit of research into, what could he do that would be viable, and he came up with organic produce. And then he looked into the different organic produce, that you could do, and he felt he wouldn't really be into, out in the fields picking weeds night and day, and he felt that the hens might be an easier option.
A gentleman farmer.
The hens might be an easier option, but he soon learned that wasn't the case. So for the first year or two, I'd come home from work, and David and I'd be laughing at it. He was walking up to work through the fields, and he'd be going, like, living the dream. This is fantastic. And that was 2007, 8, 9. And we had our first son, Noel, in 2010. So I had my baby at the Christmas tree, and I was on maternity leave, and I was like, this is the best life ever. And I looked out the window. It was really bad snow in 2010. And David was walking past with buckets of water and his knuckles bleeding, and the pipes were frozen. So obviously nothing was automated. I think we'd gone to about 750 birds at the time. And he literally came in through the door and said, I could put petrol and mattress to that and set on fire now. That's how I feel about the whole thing. So we went from kind of living the dream 3 years later to things were hard.
That can happen in business in a week. You go from top of the Mount Everest to the bottom of the lake and then back up again. So that was 2010.
Yeah.
Then what happened? So
he stuck with it. Well, he obviously was going to. He stuck with it, and eventually he invested into manual poultry units, that were insulated. So obviously the pipes weren't going to freeze, and automated feeding systems and automated doors that open and close. And obviously, say maybe a comfortable place for the organic birds because it's warmer, and then you don't have the production of lay doesn't go down. So very slowly we developed over the years. But again, as I said to you earlier, we kind of saw ourselves as egg farmers, or, you didn't see yourselves as entrepreneurs, or until 3 years ago, 2018, I had been working in the Institute of Technology Carlow for 17 years, and I decided I was going to leave work. I took a career break. They were very good to allow me to take a career break to work with David on developing the business. Wasn't sure exactly what way I was going to take it, and it was kind of a good work-life balance and spend more time with kids because they were still small. So I was at a race in Kilkenny, in Danesford, JJ Ready Danesford race, and I met a girl from the local enterprise board, Gabrielle Carl. So I got chatting to her. She was selling, I think, her husband's beer, and
just by chance.
Yes, and I got chatting to her, and she said, "You need to go on the Blaise Brosnan Business Management Development Program for Carlow Leo. Should you be fantastic, and you learn so much, and it'll be so beneficial." So when I'd left work, I kind of said, "Oh, I could do your invoices, or I'll do X, Y, and Z," but still not 100% sure. So the best thing I've ever done was gone on the business management program. It was so practical. And every single week, you were given an issue that you had to deal with. So David is not one for being told what to do, or, courses or radio interviews or anything like this. So I wasn't sure how he was going to accept it. Like, I was going, am I going to go and, learn all this information and relay it back? And will it be, taken on board? So I actually was really surprised that he worked so well with me, and we turned around how we think about business from that day forward.
You turned it around.
David did the hard work. So sometimes I feel I don't want to take the credit because I'm doing the radio interviews, or I was on RTE with James Patrice there recently, the Today Show, and I think he introduced the show because it was Women's Enterprise Week and this is the lady behind Butler's Organic Eggs. And I was like, oh, because David did all the hard work.
Okay, so that's okay. You can go home and you'll be welcomed home. But what you were also telling me is that you've done a lot of courses, and amongst them was the lean course.
Yeah, we did. The business management was eye-opening. There's things that every small business should know about and be able to do. And we were in business,
and they're available down at your Leo.
Yeah, we were in business 13 years, and we were never measuring any. Like, for example, I'll tell you a story. We were told we had to fill in an issue sheet each week. So you had to try identify the issues in your business that you weren't dealing with, or you found difficult to deal with. And it was like, why are you not dealing with them? And let's get them done. So, you have to do something uncomfortable every single week. So in the back of my mind, I was thinking, this is great, and I'm going to get David lovely with this one. So David has come back to me over the years. I could come home from work or whatever, and he'd say, "Fox is killing the chickens, and the fox this and the fox that." And in the back of my mind, I was going, like, it's not the fox, it's the problem here. So we'd half the town out, shooting the fox, and there's a dead fox, and this is great now that, the chickens. So I filled in the issue sheet, and I sat down with David over the kitchen table, and I said, we have to fill this in each week for the course. I used to make things up, to make him do things. So we have to have this done by next week. So we sat down at the table, and I said, okay, so the issue here I hear you talking about a lot is the fox. So I wrote fox as the issue, which was quite unusual, with everyone else that was in the course with me. So then you had to identify what's your excuses. So what's the excuses that the fox is around? So he's kind of looking at me going, I know where this is going, and, he practically told me to get lost in not so nice of terms. So anyway, I said, okay, so what's your excuses here? Yeah. So I said, so how can we fix the problem about the fox, David? So then I kind of moved on to saying, maybe if we fix the fence, the fox wouldn't be a problem. So I said, could I write down here that your excuse is that the fence is not fixed, and it's not particularly the fox is the problem? Yeah, I suppose. And then I said, so what would it take to fix the fence? And he said about $2,000. So I said, the problem really here is that you won't spend the money on fixing the fence. You've half the town out trying to shoot fox, and you're coming home to me every day going on about a fox, when realistically the problem is the fence. It's the fox and not the fence. So then, throughout the rest of the programme, you spent your time going, okay, the fence was actually fixed then within the following 2 weeks and continues to be maintained, and the fox has become much less of a problem. But it was it was to set the scene for what was to move forward in all the different scenarios of things that were happening. Our lean consultant then came out, and again, I was like, lean, I could do it losing a bit of weight. Now, we thought the only thing about lean was we'd no idea what it was. So David says to me, I'm not having a one coming out here now. So what would she do with me? Like, we've 2 sheds up there, and she's coming 6 times. Like, I'm not wasting my time doing this. Again, really, really helpful. So a lady, Anne Sheehan, came out to us, and the first thing she got us to do was write down what you do from 9 to 5 every single day for a week. So when we did this, she was able to identify where we were wasting time. She got the staff to do it as well. She monitored the staff for a day, and they had to do the same and write down whatever. So I was typing it up to kind of make it look, more legible for her. And I'd look at David and say, why does say she have to go from there to there and then back there and then back over again and then back over again? Well, I'm not really sure that's how we always did it. So we looked at all our processes before. We had never really measured. Like, we wouldn't have been able to say to you, we've 92% production. David knew it all in his head. In fairness, I will give him that, but I didn't know, and I was trying to learn the business as well. But from Anne coming, and then so sometimes I'd have to step out of the meeting because he won't talk. He doesn't have to when I'm there. So I'd say to Anne, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have a coffee. You chat away to David there, and I'd be kind of nudging her saying, oh, this is what you need to encourage him or tell him, to do or whatever. So I have to say, between the financial consultant, and we had a lean consultant, a financial consultant, a marketing consultant, and the business management program, we now see ourselves as business owners and entrepreneurs and are much more confident about moving forward.
It's fantastic, isn't it? I mean,
super.
And did it cost you much money to get all of that?
Nothing.
It's unbelievable.
Everything was free.
I do wish that more people knew about this.
When we see
and if you embrace it, it's about embracing it, isn't it?
It is. When we see other small businesses now, especially David, go, look at the way they're doing that, and they're not lean, and they're not this, and they're not that. So all of a sudden we're experts. Do you know, for new companies now, there's big companies out there who are excellent and really good.
There are lots of big companies that are not so excellent as well.
But we now can look at ones going, where? Why are they doing that? Or, if only they knew what we knew, so it is available to people out there, but it's helped us a lot.
And in helping you started off, you said 250 birds, and you're now at 3,050 birds. No, 4,050. Yeah. It's 3,500 laying birds.
Yeah.
So what's in the future? What do you do next?
Well, I suppose for me, David always says to me, so our eggs are sold. We're lucky enough now that we have our eggs sold. But a lot of people don't know the difference
rather than
between...
what? I mean, when you say you like pre-sold, you don't pre-sell.
No, but say, for example, they'll go to Avoca and Butler's Pantry and the Martello and Bray. Then each week they put in their orders. So at the moment we're at capacity. So if we've more shops that were coming to us, we actually don't have the eggs. But it's funny, when you don't have them, people want them. And then when you had the extra, you start getting nervous and sales started to drop. It's the usual.
But this is the big jump, isn't it? No, not such a big jump, but that's that motivation. Yeah. You say, if we had more, because you are producing a quality item, it is in demand. So therefore, why would they not buy more of them?
People, the majority of people, I've done some research myself, and the majority of the people I've spoken to don't know the difference between free range and organic.
Okay.
Do you know the difference between free range and organic?
Well, I do. One of them being what you feed them.
Yeah, there's no chemicals.
Yeah.
So within the research, again, I used to think that, just willy-nilly, think that people are really interested in that we're a family farm and we have kids. But I soon found out I was in Marley Park at the IFA Organic Fair. So every person that came in and came towards our stand, I asked them about, did they know the difference between free range and organic and which was better? And also, what was the other? Sorry, free range and organic anyway. But the majority of people thought that free range was better than organic. So basically, my couple of things to say to explain the difference were that the welfare of, that's what I was coming back to. I thought it was about the family farm, the children. They were more interested in the welfare of the bird, the quality of the food, and no chemicals in the food. So I'd go through saying that organic have a much bigger space and much bigger shed. They have much bigger space outside. There's no chemicals in the feed. The feed costs twice as much as what it does for free range. There's half the amount of birds in the shed, so it's better animal welfare, sustainable farming, so it's better for the environment, better for you, better for the birds. And at the very end, then they turn around and say to me, so are they free range? So you're like, no. Okay, and so all eggs are good and there's a market out there for everybody. Yeah. But there is I suppose
that's because the supermarkets all have a free range egg sitting there, isn't that right?
Yeah,
And,
well, there's caged and there's free range and there's organic. So when you look at the eggs and you see the organic are more expensive, you'll think, which are free range are the same as organic. And so it depends on the consumer and what they know. So I suppose for me, whether people can make whatever choice they want, but it'd be nice for them to know that organic or the top quality egg that you can buy.
So back to the future. What's the future?
You see, at the moment, again, like a couple of times we've said, we won't go any further now. That's it. That's as far as we'll go. We're comfortable now. And again, as Blaze always came back and said...
Did you say that at 250? Did you say that at 2,000?
We did. And even now, David's saying it again. And then Blaze always said, when you get comfortable, that's when there's a problem. So we have in the last year expanded, and we've got in, say, a new egg packing machine, which we didn't have before. And you know,
what were you doing before that? You're hardly doing it by hand, were you?
They're still doing it by hand. It's only coming actually in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, so
that's 3,500 a day.
Yeah,
by hand.
No, well, we have it's like a rubber sucker thing that has like 12 on it, and then they literally suck up the 12 eggs and back. I know. I have some videos on our YouTube channel that kind of shows how it's all done. But we are kind of, because we've expanded, you couldn't kind of keep that up with the hours to go into it if we did want to expand more. We would like to get comfortable even for 2 or 3 months after the expansion and selling, and you know, the pressure that we've been under for the last while, and we'll see how it goes. I'd never say never, but during COVID we couldn't get our signature green box. We had a green colour box that nobody else had, and people pulled our boxes off the shelf based on the colour.
Really?
So when COVID,
how did you know about the colour?
The colour of the box, like the labels, not that they weren't great, like they were never properly designed. Like we put them together ourselves and put them on them, but the box was green, so everyone would always say to us, "Yours is the one in the green box. Yours is the one in the green box." So during COVID, at the beginning of lockdown, we were told you won't get a green box. Every egg in this country is going to be sold in a grey box. There's nobody getting a coloured box. So we took that time and we rebranded. So we for the first time ever, like, got a proper label done, and we brought the green into the label instead of the box. So should we have been told again in the future you've no coloured boxes, you can always get a grey box. And so we rebranded during COVID as well.
And I'm holding your box now. You don't label every one of them individually, do you?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
How many, well, you know, how many boxes a day do you have to label?
3,050 divided by 6.
Well, I was hoping you'd do the maths. That's a lot. It's about 600, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, but we are, again, as we move forward, I find when you are buying organic, it is lovely to see the sticker hands stuck on the box and, you know, the whole farming side of it. But as you do expand a little, and we would be very small compared to the large egg producers, we are looking into having the labels put on the box, you know, printed and put on the box before they arrive. Again, there's challenges to that as well. It's not easy to get that done. In Ireland, you kind of have to outsource work like that. And all of that's part of the plan for the future, to ease off on the workload. And, you know, there's more time to put into the care and the welfare of the birds.
I was stunned that you told me that you could export eggs.
Yeah, so was I when I got the phone call.
Explain all.
I got a phone call before we had expanded, and, you know, we were deciding, you know, where we would, you know, go with our expansion, from a lady who wanted to export our eggs to Dubai. And I was like, really? How do you export eggs to Dubai?
So just ask the obvious question. Can they not grow hens in Dubai?
No, they want Irish organic produce with the green organic grass, you know, the really...
Okay. If they want to, give it to them.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, again... We wanted to stay, we did want to stay in Dublin. Like, if there's a market here, this is what we wanted to do. And I felt maybe we're not big enough. And then you talk to, you know, entrepreneurs who are going, you are big enough and you can, you know, you can do what you want to do. So we got the phone call, and initially it was just inquiries, you know, about price and what you could supply, and, you know, they could grow with you if you wanted to grow with us. And initially I said, well, the most we would have is about 300 dozen when we expand, and we'd have them in March. But there was some problem with the United Arab Emirates. They weren't taking Irish eggs because of the bird flu outbreak that happened. You know, it happens, it's seasonal, it's every year, and it comes and goes. And, you know, the Department of Agriculture are fantastic with managing it and watching for it and so on. But she said she would be back in touch. It's too late now because we're sold out.
But
there is options. It is possible to do.
Yeah, because some odd things happened. You said you got a random phone call. How did she find you?
If you Google organic eggs, Butler's Organics will come up, because a lot of the companies who produce organic eggs or produce eggs are producing for the multiples. They're producing for Lidl, Aldi, Tesco, Dunn's.
And you don't do any of those?
No. So
why?
If you well, first of all, we're not big enough. Yeah, and I suppose I would say never. Would I say never?
Not anymore. You never say never.
Never say never. But at the moment, we are supplying across Dublin, Carlow, some in Kildare, a bit of Wicklow, and we like what we do, and we like that we're meeting our customers, and we're meeting the wholesalers who are buying our eggs, and we've developed a really good relationship, and it's working really well. So like we do want to continue that, and we'll see where it goes from there.
I'm sure Lidl or Aldi or Dunn's or Tesco can introduce you to their buyers as well.
They're all quite cost cutting. Do you know, if you're trying to produce a quality Irish organic food and they're cutting vegetables and eggs to the bone, it's not really where we see ourselves going. You know, you want people buying quality Irish product that's at a fair price.
So where can you expand next? If you're kind of down at that bottom corner, can you go towards Galway? Can you go towards Donegal? Actually,
in saying that, only 2 weeks ago we did start supplying to Galway. Green Earth Organics are a massive organic vegetables and supplier in, you know, box veg and so on in Galway. And they contacted us to say their egg supplier had retired and that they wanted Butler's organic eggs. And
I hope you got on the phone immediately and bought whatever the supplier's equipment was.
Yeah. Oh no! Well, actually, no, we didn't.
That's what my brain would go with. That.
So yeah, we have
on the podcast. You can now shout it and say, "Listen, if you're selling
anyone organic egg equipment out there, contact
at the
Paula
right
Butler."
Exactly.
So you know, it was great. Actually, we did. So that would be an expansion to Galway. But for us, people, you might get a phone call from someone at the far end of Kilkenny saying, "We like 10 dozen of your eggs in our shop a week." We couldn't do it, you know, feasibly. We were trying to see. We have to stick to a particular route and on an area, or have a certain quantity of eggs that's going to a particular area to make it feasible for us to be able to make a profit.
Because Mr. Butler has to drive around with these. Does he travel himself all the time?
I not recently, in the last 6 months, to try take some of the pressure off him, because I'm basically desk-based or taking pictures up at the farm or doing the marketing and the PR and the finance and so on. I offered to do deliveries on a Wednesday, local deliveries. So I was doing Hacketstown, Bottomlass, Carlow Town, Castledermot, and it took a while. Like I'm quite, I would say I'm a people person and I'm good with people, but still, like getting these eggs out of a van and going in and trying to meet people, I found it hard to adjust to it.
I don't know you hugely, but I bet you in your head, I can actually guess this. You try to outsell your husband.
I probably would, yes, yeah. Or try to get back quicker than what he'd get back. You know, I did it in 3 hours, whereas it's taking you 4 hours. Definitely. But I did it for a couple of months, and it was taken because the kids were at home for COVID, and it was just, I felt it was a bit too much, as in you're trying to get the office work done and the kids and, you know, sort everything else out. And then I took this on as well, and I said, God, I'm taking nearly too much pressure off him and putting it onto myself. So I quit 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
I quit 2 weeks ago, and yesterday I said, where are you heading off to, Dave? And he went, I'm going to do your deliveries.
Oh, bitchy.
Yeah.
So you still haven't told me what the future is. That's 3 times I've asked you.
You've asked me for the future. Well, we have just recently expanded, and that's taken over 2 years. There's a huge investment into expanding.
And who funds that?
The bank. The bank funded. So, like, to put up a state-of-the-art shed, you could be looking at about 150,000 euros.
Big money.
Every time you change over your birds, every time you change over a shed, you're looking at €10 a bird, 13,000 euros.
What do you mean you turn them over? What happens to the other ones?
The birds lay. If you can get about a 90% lay, is excellent. 90, 92. We've got to 94 is really, really good. But that can drop overnight if there's any form of disruption to the birds. And then, so you could see it dropping from 90, 80, 70. And at one stage, one shed got to 60. And you're frantically, and there's your profit gone. So you're frantically trying to work out what's gone wrong or what's happened here. And you're ticking boxes to identify. Now, that's David's area of expertise. I would have no clue. I'm just panicked because I'm going, what percentage are you at today? What percentage are you at today?
More pressure.
Whereas he doesn't panic. I would be more the panicker. But, so you were saying what the future holds. For now, we need to stabilise what we're doing and just make sure that the birds are healthy and happy.
The nice word is consolidate.
Yes.
And then start again.
And then start again. Yeah. So every time we have said, no, we're not going any further. But yeah, there is a possibility because we're a packing centre as well. So they're separate, as in we could pack for another producer and pack. So there's options that you could do that. Or we could expand and say get another shed and more birds because the land is there. I think we just need time to settle and consolidate to work it out.
That's the word. You can put that on your slide. Yeah. Because another thing that you're going to learn is that kids grow up and then you'll be looking around and they won't need you so much. So you'll have more time.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, you know what we're going to ask you next.
Go on.
Who would you hire in a heartbeat?
I was thinking about this question, and the people who inspire me and make me keep going are, for example, in Carlow, we've David Walsh from Netwatch, Rachel Doyle from the Arboretum, Patrick Keogh from Rathwood, and Leslie Codd from Codd's Mushrooms. Every one of those are within 30 minutes from our house. And whenever you meet them, they're always so interested in what you do, offer support, offer help, but they really give you they're positive and they're encouraging, and you walk away from them saying, I would love to be working with them, or I never would have thought for them working for me, as in they're the people who, you know, I admire and look at how they've expanded their business and how they grow and how positive they are about it.
And the lovely thing is that you are now and have learnt is business people do back business people.
Absolutely.
So long as that you're not eating their eggs or your eggs or...
Yeah, exactly.
You don't mind if they did. You don't.
No, they can eat our eggs, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Paula Butler of Butler's Organic Eggs, thanks so much for joining us on That Great Business Show.
Thank you very much for having us.
Looking for the best work-life balance? Why not start your new business life in one of Ireland's beautiful Gaeltacht locations? Údarás na Gaeltachta has created Ireland's biggest digital hub, G-Tech. High-speed broadband just for you. Hussail no ifnachlat. Your new work-life awaits. Find out more at údarás.ie.
ThatGreatBusinessShow.com is brought to you by De Facto Shaving Oil. The best anyone can get. Made in Ireland, sold worldwide.
That Great Business Show.
It's really interesting how wanting or needing to be in business can run in the blood. On episode 23 of That Great Business Show, we had Fergus Kerrigan of Ethos CBD talking about his cannabis-based startup. Then I find out that his younger brother, Emmett Kerrigan, has headed west and is a co-founder of All About Kombucha. That makes it, guess what? Kombucha. That's a trendy fermented drink that is so popular with millennials, Gen Z, and those types. And All About Kombucha have big plans. And along the way, they have made plenty of pivots. The company is based in beautiful Moycullen, that's halfway between Galway and Oughterard, and such a fabulous place to work. But you could say that the company started further west, like much further west, in Vancouver, Canada, to be precise. So let's hear that story. Welcome to That Great Business Show, Emmett Kerrigan.
How are you, Conall? It's great to be here.
But here is in Moycullen, but it could have been there in Vancouver.
Yeah, in Vancouver, that's where me and my business partner, Keith Loftus, give him a big shout out, a friend, a brother, and a great business partner. Both of us, we were in the sense of for an adventure after we finished our commerce course in NUIG back in 2014. So we booked the tickets, and within 10 days of putting the last pen down in college, we were in Vancouver. We just dropped in, and we were both very kind of interested in business, but we didn't know that we were going to start a business over there for sure. But within 10 days, we had made uniform and we had founded what was going to be Emerald Services BC for British Columbia. And this is basically started off as a painting outfit. Myself and Keith would go around, we'd paint fences and decks. And then I figured out how to make a deck on YouTube, and I also was figuring the building of fences was quite easy and you could charge a lot for them. So Keith was the front of house. He was knocking on the doors and I was coming in behind him with all the tools. It was a really interesting start for our relationship.
And when we chatted before, I was really curious because there's you, Emmett, there's Fergus. And where did this come from? There was entrepreneurship in the family.
Yeah, my mum and dad were both avid entrepreneurs, and from an early age I remember being in primary school and just writing, what would you like to be when you grow up? And entrepreneur was always at the top of my mind, so it was something that I was longing for.
Hang on a second now, I'm going to stop you there. When you were in national school, so you were under 12, you couldn't spell entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's a hard one to spell. I wouldn't even want to give it a go right now, so I've definitely made a few different attempts of it over the time, but it was always something I was really interested in. I just, when I was learning about it from my parents at a young age, I was like, why wouldn't I want to be the person making decisions and making all the money if things go right? It seems like the best place to be in a business or in life.
So why didn't you stick with Vancouver, British Columbia?
Well, basically, because we were entrepreneurs over there, you can't get the extension on your visa. So we had started drinking kombucha. So on them hot days when we were making the fences over there, we went down to the local health food stores which are very abundant in Vancouver, as it's a very healthy kind of city. And that's where we first started drinking kombucha. We were like, wow, there's a full fridge dedicated to this product over here. And I'd barely seen it back in Ireland in 2014. So when we came back to Ireland, we did a few bits here and there, but we settled on, let's create a kombucha company in Ireland that's as good as the ones that we've seen in North America. And that's what we've been doing for the last 3 years.
And why the west of Ireland?
The west of Ireland, it's where we're from, and it's a beautiful place on the Wild Atlantic Way. We're 5 minutes from the sea, which we go dipping in quite regularly to keep the head fresh and get the creative ideas going. And Galway is a fantastic place for the startup culture. We have some great food brands here and some great technology companies popping up.
And before we had the chat, I did see that you are an Udaros company.
Yeah, we've been with the Udaros since the very beginning. So we're working with Porrick O'Queen in there. He's our agent, and he's been very good to us. He's been with us since day one, since we didn't even have a functioning brewery. And they've been interested in the idea, and then we've kind of proven the concept to them. So they're helping us move it on and move into our new facility, which we'll be setting up in the next couple of months.
But you are not alone in this marketplace, because we had previously on That Great Business Show KO Kombucha on, and I'm sure there's probably a queue of other kombuchas around the place who'd like to have a chat, including those from overseas. Yeah,
the kombucha market is only growing. It grows on annually about 25% each year in Europe. So it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So there's going to be a lot of different competition coming through. We have our own unique way of going about it. So we're doing real life kombucha. So it's filtered kombucha, but it still has all the active yeast and active bacteria in it, which is really good for your gut microbiome. And we're pioneering the same sustainability within the drinks industry in Ireland. So at the moment, we're carbon neutral within our production. So that means basically all the carbon emissions that are scope 1 and 2, which you'll hear a lot more about over the next couple of years as we head towards 2050. So we're just pioneering sustainability and then tying that into the kombucha with some strong values. So good quality product and a strong brand as we go forward. That's our plan.
And I'm sure that you've also had plans pre-COVID, because COVID has presumably kicked you around the place. Presumably the restaurants that you might have been delivering to have shut down. I know that you were on the Grow with Aldi course, or you spent a year with them. You've had to do a number of pivots.
Yeah, me and Keith welcome the pivot, because we feel like the business is pivoting. If you're not pivoting, it's just like you shouldn't be in the game. And I really love the way businesses changed their direction during COVID, with coffee shops making hatches and food trailers setting up on the side of roads, and people are just adapting to it. So with us, we had kind of 3 main things that we did. We created a turmeric immunity drink within the first 2 weeks of the lockdown. This is basically to bolster people's immune system. So this is just one that we gave out to the locality. It was well received, and now it's in shops and retail up and down the country. So that had all the good turmeric, ginger, black pepper, everything to make you healthy during this time. We also started doing home deliveries around Galway. So I became the Pat Mustard, or the kombucha milkman of Galway. So I do my weekly rounds on Thursday, and that's been a fantastic success. That's grown from strength to strength, actually, and we do about 20 deliveries a week just to the Galway area. So we drop the kombucha off to the door and keep a safe distance. We also launched our website with brew your own kombucha at home kits, and with the backing of the Udaros, and that's been fantastic. The kits have went from strength to strength, and with everybody making sourdough and doing different hobbies at home, kombucha was the next to start going. So like we have seen a huge rise in orders over the last while, and got great feedback from people around the country who are brewing their own kombucha with their own SCOBY, which is the symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. It's what converts the sugar into basically the healthy probiotic beverage that you pick up in SuperValu or wherever you find your own kombucha.
If only it were that simple, though, because you were also telling me that you had some problems with glass.
Yeah, well, we've been trying to figure out the packaging. So like when we went into the kombucha kits originally, we see everything was in the first lockdown was kind of trade was really dramatically halted. It was hard to get things from China or wherever you'd source your own, you normally source glass. So we were just looking for things from Ireland. What could we buy in? How could we package it together? With that, the packaging wasn't right. We tested out our first edition. We resend them through DPD, and sometimes because our packaging wasn't great, we'd have complaints from customers saying the glass is broken. So we just took that on the chin and we said, let's improvise, let's make better packaging, let's adjust the way we put the stuff into the boxes to make sure it doesn't break. Customer service was a whole new learning for us as well. So basically I said, okay, our glass is breaking, and so the customers aren't happy. So anytime somebody got onto me that wasn't happy with what was going on with the glass, I was just like, okay, we'll send you another one tomorrow, no matter the cost. So just DPD. So yeah, we had to DPD out a lot of extra Kilner jars and bottles and stuff like that. But now we've it all sorted, and they're flying out the gap and no breakages, thank God.
And how did you sort it? Because many others, I'm sure, would love to hear how you ship packaging, have you stuck with glass?
Yeah, well, you have to use glass because when you're fermenting the kombucha, it's better to ferment it within glass because like the acids within the kombucha don't interact with the glass. So yeah, we have to have a 3-liter Kilner jar, which is like your main fermentation vessel, and then a 750 ml bottle, which is used for secondary fermentation. So let's say when your finished kombucha is done, you put it into the bottle, you add a little bit more sugar, and then that creates the fizz within the bottle for your finished product. So yeah, we need to use glass. But yeah, we just worked with a Cavan box, a packaging company, to create a specific box that holds everything in nice, neat and tidy, and it's double walled. And then just caution tape on it, trying to advise the DPD drivers to look after the packaging.
Well, I'm laughing because if they're the same lads who called to my door, I think there's an Olympic sport in what some of them try to do with packages. One of the other things that, of course, that you've done is you have, and I say this honestly, it's a really gorgeous logo. The logo just says all about, and a big full stop, if it's a full stop, a big dot.
Yeah, that logo was designed by a local illustrator in Galway called Ciara Coogan. She's been fantastic to work with. We had a food stall back in the day, and she also did all the work for that. So we've been working with her for about 3 years, and it's been great. The logo is basically it's on all our bottles, all our branding. It's kind of the symbol of the authenticity and our values. So as we go forward, we want to be sponsoring cultural events, and this logo to be left up front and center, and that just basically anything that's aligned with our values of being sound, causing minimal harm, learning through resistance, uncapping creativity, and practicing self-actualization. We want to back with that logo.
Jeez, that's a very long list of things that you want to be, because I also know that your kombucha is only the beginning of the empire. Yeah,
kombucha is it's a big task for now, and we have lots of plans and lots of interesting collaborations coming up. But yeah, we're interested in going into other things as well. But we'll take it one step at a time. We really we want to nail the kombucha project first, and then we'll see where everything lies at that stage.
And your natural markets, export markets, will be either into Northern Ireland and or into Britain. How are you going to export to there? Have you got any plans there?
We're kind of looking at see where Brexit lies, but yeah, once we up our capacity and we in our new facility, we're going investing in a state-of-the-art canning machine, so that will be able to give us more units. And then from there, we will be looking at exporting over into the UK. We're also looking at bringing the kombucha kits, which are selling so well, into Central Europe. So that's something we're investigating now, both in like the German and French markets. So we'd be shipping our pallets of kombucha kits over to a drop shipping facility in France, and then from there, people can order them in that country, and then they can get shipped out with the French distribution agent. So that's something very interesting that we would never have looked at before if it wasn't for the COVID situation.
You're gassed because, you are young. You are literally learning on the job.
Yeah, sure. It's the only way to be. Myself and Keith have been going at it for 7 years now. So even though we are quite young, it feels like we've learned a lot over the time, from employing local Irish lads to power wash tiles over in Vancouver, to having 4 people working down the brewery when the Aldi contract was in full force during the summer. So yeah, we've learned a lot along the way, and it's been an incredible journey. But I've like all my friends always say, when I meet up with them, I always repeat the same thing. Like, we're only getting started. Like, we have so much energy behind us. It's incredible. There's a lot of people in Galway that are supporting us through and through. And we just have fantastic people around that really want us to do well. And because we're giving back, we're 1% for the planet. So basically, like 1% of our entire revenue goes towards helping out with climate change and stuff like that. So the better our company does, the better the world will fare. Like, that's how we want to see it. Modern day philanthropist.
No small ambition. Listen, it cannot have all been plain sailing. You just did mention about your glass breakages and all. What were the take 2 big things that you should have seen coming your way, that you didn't see coming your way, that you said, bugger it, I should have seen that and I could have avoided it?
Probably taking advice on building structure within the business, because me and Keith we're just kind of all about going forward, having new ideas, acting on them ideas, and just pushing on. So yeah, that's something that we encountered as we went into the Aldi contract. It was like just the organisation, the staffing, getting the materials in to fulfill the orders, making sure the orders went out okay. So yeah, we kind of worked with our structure over the last while, and just really got organised on the business, and that has made us much more efficient outfit.
Did somebody mentor you on that?
We got the lean. We did the lean with Micro with the Enterprise Ireland, so that helped with that. And then we had another gentleman that was working with us, Shane O'Hara, who helped us with their kind of structure, and that was really needed. And
that was one of the 2 that I asked. What? Give me another one.
What other things?
There must be ones that you have that have kept you awake in your lab at night, saying, "Oh, Christ, if only we hadn't done that."
Well, the product is a live product, so it's been an educational process trying to educate cafe and retailers that this needs to be kept in the fridge. So if you find kombucha on the shop floor, it's not in the fridge. It doesn't have any live bacteria or yeast in it. So you want to be drinking kombucha that's in the fridge, so it needs to be kept cold. So yeah, we've had a few over fermented bottles and a lot of fizzy bottles when customers getting onto us through Instagram saying what's going on with this. So that's been a bit of a pain, and it's been an educational process.
Do they explode?
They don't explode because the caps are holding the pressure, but when you open them up, they can fizz everywhere. It's when we send you on a kombucha kit, Conall, you might have that experience in your own kitchen with your 750 ml bottle.
We shall see. Come here to me. The funding, how are you being funded?
We've been self-funded from the start. We started with a little bit of Keith's money, and then we started a food stall called Avo Nice Day, and we did all the festivals with that. It was like avocado on toast, and we brought the kombucha.
Oh, that's clever. Avo Nice Day.
Yeah, it was in Electric Picnic, Body and Soul all together now. It went extremely well, but we put our sourdough hats up, and now we're just concentrating completely on the kombucha. But we did create a good bit of revenue from that food stall, and we were just pushing that all into the kombucha project. So yeah, we're completely self-funded at this stage, but we're in talks with a local bank to get a bit of a bank loan to go forward with the new facility.
Very good. So we always finish by asking about who you might hire for your team in a heartbeat. Who would you hire in a heartbeat to help you kombucha the world?
And the two people I'd hire, I wanted to create like a bit of a dualistic pairing. So I'm going to go with Gary Vaynerchuk and Mother Teresa. I'll explain this combination now. So Gary Vaynerchuk, he's a really progressive entrepreneur from New York. He's very clued in with culture and with social media and how phones and attention is changing the world. So I think having someone like him is essential for a business going forward now. Social media is everything. The attention is all in the phone. So having someone that knows that inside out would be incredible. And then Mother Teresa, basically, because we're like an authentic kombucha brand that wants to do good, is like, she'd just be there to keep us honest and create a few miracles along the way, because you always need that in business when you're pivoting away.
I like that one, actually. I was going to tell you, but I think you already know. She's no longer with us, so she cannot join you.
Yeah, well, maybe she can come back.
Okay. Fergus Kerrigan, all about kombucha. Continued success. Please keep Team GBS informed of your progress. When are you opening your Moycullen facility, do you think?
The one in Clare Galway, yeah, that should be open. We're hoping for July, but we'll see. There's always delays.
Okay, well, we look forward to that. You can give us a shout when you are opening up in Clare Galway, and we will tell the world about how you're getting on. Fergus Kerrigan, thank you for joining us on That Great Business Show. That's it from That Great Business Show, episode 29. Our head man on the dials today was Keith Stars. He's a supersonic sound engineer. Peter Rice will sprinkle some digital angel dust on us later, making us, and it's official, the best sounding podcast by far. This week's shout-outs are for our COVID interns marketing intern, Alana Henry, who found us all about kombucha. Paula Butler of Butler's Organic Eggs contacted us through every channel possible. Take her lead and tell us about your business via our website, thatgreatbusinessshow.com. And Hannah Wrixon, well, she's already a Team GBS member, so we always keep an eye out for team members. If you would like to advertise on Ireland's best business podcasts, email producer@thatgreatbusinessshow.com and let's talk. Finally, our thanks to our sponsor, De Facto Shave. Try their world's best shaving oil for a week and you'll never go back to yucky, polluting and potentially carcinogenic shaving foam. Buy it, use it and tell us how smooth it makes you feel. So from me, Conall O Móráin, we will talk again next week on That Great Business Show. Slán.